Some bikes take you down the road. These take you across continents. Big engines that eat up miles, comfort that keeps you riding from sunrise to sunset, and the kind of presence that turns heads in every town you roll through. If you want adventure without limits, this is where it starts. These are our top 12 most comfortable heavyweight adventure bikes ever made. BMW R1250 GS Adventure. At first, we have the BMW R1250 GS Adventure, the two-wheeled equivalent of a luxury cruise ship that can somehow climb a mountain. The 1,254cc Boxer Twin puts out 136 horsepower and 105 pound-feet of torque, enough to haul you, a passenger, and your entire camping department at highway speeds without breaking a sweat. The 2025 base price is around $20,745, though most riders accidentally check every box on the option sheet and end up closer to $25,000. At 591 pounds wet, this is not a bike you casually wheel into a parking spot with one hand, but once rolling, it feels lighter than it should, like it is politely ignoring physics. The telelever front suspension smooths out bumps so well you might start thinking potholes are just rumors. And with a 7.9-gallon tank, your fuel stops are dictated more by coffee cravings than range. The GS Adventure's family tree goes back to the R80 GS of the early 80s, a machine that showed the world adventure bikes could be comfortable. This latest version takes that legacy, throws in every gadget BMW can think of, and delivers a ride that is equal parts unstoppable and unapologetically over-equipped. BMW R1300 GS Adventure. Moving on, we have the BMW R1300 GS Adventure, the newer, slightly sleeker sibling to the 1250. BMW bumped the Boxer Twin to 1300cc, giving it around 145 horsepower and 110 pound-feet of torque. That means you can now overtake with even less effort, and possibly scare yourself a little when you twist the throttle too enthusiastically. The 2025 starting price is about $23,440, but with options, it climbs faster than your RPM in first gear. It tips the scales at roughly 593 pounds wet, so it is still firmly in heavyweight territory. But BMW shaved weight in the chassis and gave it a more compact engine, so it actually feels a touch more agile. The adaptive suspension automatically adjusts to whatever surface you are riding, which is BMW's polite way of saying you no longer have an excuse for hitting that pothole. The ergonomics are spot on, and the wind protection is good enough to keep you comfortable well past the point where you should have stopped for lunch. The R1300 GS Adventure carries forward everything the GS name stands for: long-range comfort, over-the-top equipment, and the kind of presence that makes other riders assume you have a passport full of exotic stamps, even if your farthest trip was to the next state. Honda Africa Twin Adventure Sports ES. Rolling into the Honda Africa Twin Adventure Sports ES. This is the big sibling of Honda's famous Africa Twin, built for riders who think the standard model just is not enough bike. The 1084cc parallel twin puts out about 101 horsepower and 77 pound-feet of torque, giving it plenty of grunt for loaded touring or two-up riding. For 2025, it is priced around $17,599 before you start adding accessories that will inevitably happen. At roughly 536 pounds wet, the Adventure Sports ES is noticeably heavier than the regular Africa Twin, thanks to its larger 6.5-gallon fuel tank, extra electronics, and more substantial fairing. That weight pays off in comfort and range, making this a bike you can ride all day without feeling beaten up. The semi-active Showa suspension constantly adjusts to the road, or lack of it, so you can go from smooth tarmac to gravel without even thinking about damping settings. The Africa Twin name comes from Honda's Dakar rally success in the late 80s and early 90s, when its ancestor, the XRV 750, was built to survive brutal conditions. The Adventure Sports ES carries that heritage forward but adds modern luxury, meaning you can still chase the horizon, just with cruise control and a heated seat. Harley-Davidson Pan America 1250 Special. Next, we have the Harley-Davidson Pan America 1250 Special, the motor company's bold leap into the adventure bike world. Powered by the 1,252cc Revolution Max V twin, It delivers 150 horsepower and 94 pound-feet of torque, which means it has no trouble moving its 569-pound wet weight, plus your gear, passenger, and maybe a small kitchen sink. For 2025, it starts around $20,549. And yes, it comes in Harley paint schemes that will make you stare. One of its party tricks is the adaptive ride height system, which automatically lowers the suspension when you stop. This makes the tall ADV stance more manageable and possibly saves you from an embarrassing tip-over at the gas station. The suspension is fully adjustable and electronically controlled, giving it serious versatility whether you are on the highway or bouncing down a gravel road. This bike marks a big shift for Harley, whose heritage is rooted in cruisers and touring machines. The Pan America takes that long-haul comfort and adds genuine off-road capability. It is big, brash, and unmistakably American. And it proves Harley can build a bike that does more than just rumble down Main Street. And here's the thing. The bikes coming up next aren't just big and comfortable. They've got features and performance that make seasoned riders stop and take notes. If you think the first four were impressive, wait until you see what's still on the list. Ducati Multistrada V4 Rally. Rolling into the Ducati Multistrada V4 Rally, we're talking about an Italian heavyweight that blends superbike tech with cross-continent comfort. At its heart is a 1,158 cubic centimeter V4 Gran Turismo engine producing 170 horsepower and 92 pound-feet of torque, all while tipping the scales at around 573 pounds wet. Priced from roughly $29,995, it's not exactly pocket change, but then again, neither is a private jet. This isn't just a Multistrada with a bigger fuel tank. The Rally packs a massive 7.9-gallon tank for serious range, extended suspension travel for soaking up the rough stuff, and radar-assisted adaptive cruise control that feels more like it belongs on an S-Class Mercedes than a motorcycle. Ducati even designed it with longer service intervals, so you can spend more time riding and less time explaining the maintenance bill to your spouse. The riding position is upright and commanding, with plush ergonomics that make hours in the saddle disappear. Whether you're ripping through mountain twisties or crossing a desert highway, the Multistrada V4 Rally eats miles with the appetite of a Tour de France cyclist at an all-you-can-eat buffet. It's luxury, speed, and ruggedness, all in one gloriously expensive package. Triumph Tiger 1200 GT Explorer. Gliding over to the Triumph Tiger 1200 GT Explorer, here's a machine that proves the British know how to build a proper heavyweight adventurer. At 1160cc, this triple-cylinder beast delivers 148 horsepower and 95 pound-feet of torque, with a fully fueled weight of about 575 pounds. The price tag starts around $24,895, which is pretty reasonable if you consider it's basically a luxury SUV on two wheels. The GT Explorer isn't about pretending it's a dirt bike. This one's tuned for comfort, long-haul stability, and tech that makes you feel like you've brought your living room along for the ride. You get a 7.9-gallon fuel tank for monster range, electronically adjustable Showa suspension, a heated seat and grips, plus blind spot radar. Yes, radar on a motorcycle. James Bond would approve. Comfort is the keyword here. The ergonomics feel spot on for tall riders, the wind protection is excellent, and the triple engine hums along smoothly whether you're rolling through small-town America or blasting down the interstate. For riders who want to devour highways without feeling beat up at the end of the day, the Tiger 1200 GT Explorer is the cat's whiskers. Honda Africa Twin Adventure Sports ESDCT. Rolling into the Honda Africa Twin Adventure Sports ESDCT. This is the long-legged, fully dressed sibling of Honda's legendary Africa Twin. Packing a 1084cc parallel twin with 101 horsepower and 77 pound-feet of torque, it tips the scales at about 530 pounds fully fueled. Priced around $17,899, it's a lot of motorcycle for the money, especially with Honda's bulletproof reliability baked in. The Adventure Sports trim isn't just marketing fluff. You get a massive 6.5-gallon tank for cross-country range, Showa-era electronically adjustable suspension, and a big comfy seat that's more lazy boy than dirt bike plank. And because this is the DCT model, you can forget clutch work entirely. Just twist and go while the bike handles gear changes like a caffeinated butler. On the open road, the Africa Twin Adventure Sports ESDCT feels planted, relaxed, and happy to cruise all day without complaint. The tall windscreen, heated grips, and plush suspension make it as happy on the interstate as it is on a scenic back road. For riders who want adventure capability but in a package that's downright luxurious, this Honda is a first-class ticket. Ducati Multistrada V4S Grand Tour. Shifting gears into Italian luxury and tech, we land on the Ducati Multistrada V4S Grand Tour. This is the kind of bike that doesn't just take you places. It makes the journey feel like a five-star experience. Under the sculpted bodywork sits Ducati's 1158cc V4 Gran Turismo engine pumping out 170 horsepower, paired with a buttery smooth gearbox and adaptive cruise control that feels almost like cheating on long highway runs. What really makes the Grand Tour special is how it mixes performance with pampering. Semi-active suspension adjusts instantly to changing terrain. The heated grips and seats keep you cozy on frosty mornings. And the cornering lights make night rides feel safer and more confident. The electronics suite is practically an onboard co-pilot, with navigation, ride modes, and rider aids galore. At around 573 pounds, it's not light, but this bike hides its weight well once you're moving. It's perfect for riders who love covering big miles without sacrificing comfort or speed. And yes, it's priced in the premium bracket, but that's the trade-off when you're buying into Ducati's blend of touring elegance and superbike DNA. Triumph Tiger 1200 Rally Explorer. Up next, we've got Triumph's heavyweight off-road bruiser, the Tiger 1200 Rally Explorer. This is the bike you buy when you want the rugged spirit of an adventure machine, but refuse to give up comfort or tech. At its heart is a 1,160cc T-plane triple engine, delivering 148 horsepower and a deep, addictive growl that makes even fuel stops feel like part of the adventure. What really sets the Rally Explorer apart is its sheer touring capability. A massive 7.9-gallon fuel tank means you can cross state lines before even thinking about a refill, while semi-active Showa suspension soaks up everything from potholes to rocky fire roads. Add in blind spot radar, cornering ABS, and heated everything, and you've basically got the adventure equivalent of a first-class airline seat, except it smells like petrol and freedom. At around 575 pounds, it's not exactly a ballerina, but Triumph has balanced it so well that it feels surprisingly manageable, even off-road. If you're after a machine that can conquer gravel tracks one day and chew up highway miles the next, all while looking like a British tank on two wheels, this is your ticket. Suzuki V-Strom 1050DE. Now, looking at Suzuki's V-Strom 1050DE, which is like that one friend who always says, "Yeah, I'm up for it," whether you're talking about a cross-country highway blast or a muddy backwoods trail. Priced around $15,000, it's built on Suzuki's long-standing V-twin platform, a 1,037cc liquid-cooled engine pumping out about 106 horsepower and a healthy 74 pound-feet of torque. The engine's been tuned for smooth mid-range grunt, so you don't feel like you're wrestling a raging bull every time you open the throttle. This heavyweight sits at a curb weight of roughly 540 pounds and rolls on a 21-inch front and 17-inch rear-spoked wheel combo, with fully adjustable Showa suspension, giving you nearly 9 inches of travel. That's plenty for gravel, sand, and the odd pothole the size of a kiddie pool. Electronics are solid, but not over the top. Traction control, ABS with gravel mode, and multiple ride settings keep things safe and drama-free. It's designed for comfort too. Tall windscreen, roomy ergonomics, and a big 5.3-gallon tank for serious range. While it may not have the same European badge prestige as some pricier adventure machines, it delivers dependable performance and versatility without draining your bank account. Think of it as the workhorse that still cleans up nicely for a night out. KTM 1290 Super Adventure S. Now we have the KTM 1290 Super Adventure S, Austria's way of proving that a touring bike can also be a missile on two wheels, with its 1,301cc LC8 V-twin delivering a staggering 160 horsepower and 103 pound-feet of torque. This machine isn't shy about flexing. Priced around $20,500, it's the road-biased sibling in KTM's heavyweight family, perfect for high-speed touring with the occasional dirt road thrown in. At just over 540 pounds curb weight, the S wears 19-inch front and 17-inch rear cast wheels for planted road handling. Its semi-active VP suspension automatically adjusts on the fly, while radar-based adaptive cruise control, cornering ABS, and a crisp 7-inch TFT dash make it one of the most tech-rich bikes in the category. Comfort hasn't been overlooked either. The adjustable windscreen, plush seat, and relaxed ergonomics let you cover huge distances without feeling like you've been through a wrestling match. It's part sport bike, part grand tourer, and all adventure. KTM 1290 Super Adventure R. Finally, we have the KTM 1290 Super Adventure R, the wild sibling that doesn't mind getting dirty. Sharing the same LC8 V-twin with 160 horsepower and 103 pound-feet of torque, it's priced about the same as the S model at $20,500. But here, the focus shifts entirely to conquering rugged, unforgiving terrain. Weighing around 542 pounds wet, the R swaps in a 21-inch front and 18-inch rear, spoked wheel combo wrapped in aggressive off-road rubber. Fully adjustable VP X-Plore suspension gives 8.7 inches of travel, ready to soak up rocks, ruts, and whatever else you point it at. The tall 35-inch seat makes it feel like climbing onto a bar stool, if that bar stool could cross a desert. Electronics like traction control, off-road ABS, and customizable ride modes keep you in control without getting in the way. This is the heavyweight for riders who believe adventure starts where the pavement ends. Here's something worth knowing. In the last decade, adventure motorcycles over 900cc have quietly taken the touring crown from traditional cruisers in long-distance sales. Riders are choosing capability, comfort, and versatility over sheer style alone. And with this lineup, it's clear why. Which heavyweight would you park in your garage first? Let me know in the comments and hit subscribe so you don't miss the next list of dream machines.